Hi everyone, hope you are all well. Whether you're with me live, if you're watching me a bit later on, give me a thumbs up, pop me a note in the comments so I know you were present with me. Now we are doing a little bit of a variation on a theme. So last week we did the same stitch but on a smaller scale. And what I thought I would do is actually show you how to do it in a variation so that you've got a choice of using beads. This one is just using the same size seed beads with our batch tutorial that we did a few weeks ago, and that one as well. This was the one I did during last week's live. Now here's one I've prepared earlier, and as I've mentioned before, I really like necklaces without clasps. Now this one I have got size 8 seed beads going through the core, which is these, so they're the opaque royal blue. On the outside I've got size 10 metallic iris blue, and I've actually sprinkled in some of these, which are the 1.5 by 2.5 crystal rondelles. Now if you catch it in the right light, you can see the different tones of colour and those sparkles. Now I'm going to demonstrate on both of these ropes, so I'm going to show you how to start off. Let's have a little look at the pink one. Now you can obviously adapt these to necklaces, to bracelets, to earrings, and it's entirely up to you. What you might need to do is you might need to stitch these little side bits to each other for earrings. Now this particular one, I have used the very reasonable strands of pink stroke peach 3/4mm glass pearls. So as you can see, let's turn it around the right way, those are going through the core and they're also on the outside. I've also got size 8 seed beads in the pink, which I've just used in the edging. I've also got size 10 seed beads, and I've got these 2x3 crystals. Just to give you an idea, so these are some of the tutorials that we've done in the past few weeks and months on bead embroidery. Now this is something that again you could do. I know obviously pink and red don't go, but you know, you could hang that off of one of the frills, you could use that, or you could attach it either side. And again for these, bear in mind that you can use the thinner one as well, but it's exactly the same method. See, I think that thinner one would be quite nice. So if you're new to this, you think, what is bead weaving? Bead weaving is just a technical term that's used for using needle and thread to create jewellery, or beadwork or bead weaving. Those are the common sort of names for them. Now you will need a size 10 beading needle. You can also have a size 12 beading needle if you're using something like size 15, which is a really small seed beads. Work with as long a thread as you can, ideally 1.5 meters if you can, if you're doing a necklace. And I am using my Yuki thread tonight, but you can use Nymo or any alternative. I quite like the Mayuki. Now these have just gone in the group thread and they're super cute. They're quite small, but they're really handy. So you just pinch them and you can use them as a stopper bead on the end. Where's the end? So I would suggest that you shimmy about 3 inches from the end to give yourself room to tie in. This is the one that we are going to demonstrate. Just to say, try and experiment with this. I would say you can even go up to larger beads, you know, like your 6mm, your 8mm, but your reinforcing, i.e. going back round, is going to be heavier, or you might even want to do double thread, because obviously the heavier the beads, the more weight that you're going to be putting onto the string. So that's just something worth bearing in mind. What we start off with is 4 of these size 8 seed beads. On the other one I've used 4mm pearls. Okay, so we're going to shimmy that along right to the end. 1, 2, 3. Again, you can experiment with these because you might want a slightly tighter weave. You might not want them quite as splayed out. So bring that right down to the bottom. I'd also wax your thread as well. This is very well used. So where you started with those 8 size 8 seed beads is you go up through all of those 4. And if you recall last week's tutorial, it's exactly the same. It's just the bead combinations that are different. So you've got a loop on the outside and you've got your core to the left. Now we're going to flip that over, or to the right I should say, so that the core is actually on your right and the circle part is on your left. Now I'm just going to tighten the tension, pop that over my finger, add another size 8, 3 10s, size 10 seed beads, 2 of the tiny crystals and another 3 seed beads of the size 10. Let's just show you that up close. Now there's no getting quickly through this. You need to make sure that you push that group down, because you need that core bead, i.e. that size 8 bead, to sit on top of the last group, and you count 4 of those size 8 beads back. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you go all the way back through the 4 beads counting from the top, and then flip that over and just catch that in your left. And that's how we do the weave. Right, so again we pull that and then we're just going to flip that over. So look at that already coming along really beautifully. So let's just do a little bit more, and what I'm going to show you is how you actually join a necklace so that it's a slip over your head job rather than a clasp. So there we go. Isn't that lovely? So I think you get the idea of that. Let's shimmy across to this one. I'm comfortable with the length. I've tied off the excess. In fact, I pretty much ran out of thread, so I had to tie it off. And what I'm going to do is join those two, and I'm literally just going to go down from the other side to the size 8 seed beads and pull that together. Now, just as you would normally tie off, and just go across your thread or between it and tie a knot. Okay, and we do that in a couple of places. We'll probably go down one of these frills and go back as well. I would thread that back because I've run out of thread. Can you see, to me that is not tight enough, so I would go in, tie in another little bit of thread, so I'd start a bit further back, tie in a couple of places. You need to go back and reinforce that. Let's have a look at the pink one. So we've got a bit of variation. This one is a little bit different, so let's talk you through. We've got 3/4mm glass pearls. These are going to be our core, so it goes up the middle. Going to add 4 of those. What I love about this is the fact that it grows really quickly because they're bigger beads. Now, I've got a slightly different combination for the frill, but like I say, just play with the combination. Have a bit of confidence. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. So I've got 2 size 10, 1 size 8, 1 2.5 by 3 crystal, 1 4, if I call it 4mm, that's much easier, and then just go back, and I'll show you to the camera in a sec. Okay, 2 10s, 1 size 8 seed bead, 1 crystal, 1 4mm bead. So we're going to go all the way back up through those 4 beads, like so, and you probably guessed it as before. I'm going to flip that over so it sits on the left. Now, if you are left-handed, you might want to work the opposite way because you might want it on your right, if you see what I mean. If you're left-handed, then what I would do is screenshot me doing this and then do a reversal in your camera. So again, we've got 1 bead to go up the core, 2 10s, 1 8, 1 crystal. Where's my 4mm gone? Except if you're like me, you forget your combinations and they vary slightly. So that on the left. Okay, that's my next one up. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4. You go up the last 4. And turn that round to the left and do that again. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward, and it was just the combination that I liked. It might just be worth having a look in your bead box. You know, if you don't want to buy any more beads, you know, just have a look in your bead box, see if you've got some, you know, what you've got in that groups of colour. Okay, isn't that lovely? So then of course you get this effect. So we'll do this a little bit more, and then I will attach one of the ends. I don't want to attach both of them because I want to keep going with it so it's one that I can wear. would love to know, for those of you that do needle and thread work, whether it's bead embroidery, whether it's bead weaving, what top tips would you share with people? So if you could talk to your beginner self and somebody gave you some advice, what would you share? I think the other thing is to wax your thread as well. Now, if you imagine this is like, there's a clasp one end. This is a sterling silver loop, so you stitch through the loop and the other loop your clasp will clip onto. So if we look at this, for example, this is a 925 clasp. So if you look, that's on one end and the clasp would be the other end, so that would clip onto that. Okay, and what I would do is I would switch down to the smaller size beads. So I'm going to add 3 size 10 seed beads, pop through the end of the clasp, because I think because they're soldered they're a lot more sturdy to use. So we're going to go back through the first 3, but you need to make sure you pull that nice and tight, and we want to what we call reinforce. So keep going back round. So 3 or 4 times, because what you don't want is you don't want your necklace hanging off of one thread, literally. So when you're comfortable that you've got enough tension and it's stable enough, we can then go back down those beads, and then as we did before, either go between or through the thread as you're going down, go through. Now I'm going to just go down the core ones on this one, but you know, you can go down these sides as well. Again, tie off 3 to 4 different places and just push your needle through a couple of the beads. Now some of you may have what's called a thread zapper, which is like you get heat through it so it burns it, or a cutter, and there you go. So I've just done that, and then we do the same the other side, which is very similar on the smaller one. But if we look at that's what we did last week, so exactly the same method, but we've got these variations. So I don't think you'd know, would you? There you go, there's that one, and there's that one. Which one's your favourite? Let me know which you think you prefer. I'm going to go back in and reinforce the join on this one. You can always reinforce down the core, just go all the way round. If you were going to do that, what I'd recommend you do is use a size 12 beading needle so that you've got more space to go around it. And this is your pink one. I will love you and leave you. I will see you very soon. You take care. Bye.